Hello everyone, this is Fireswamp, and today I'm going to go over the many bugs and exploits the LPAC game mode has in Creeper World 4. LPAC has a lot of maps. If you check through, not sure how many this is, I'm pretty sure this is 56 maps, yeah, that sounds about right. And you can pretty much find bugs in just about all the maps. I think if you look hard enough, there are some there are some that range from the pretty innocuous to the outright game breaking, and I thought I should go through and make a video on most of the ones that I know of. So, well, let's start with the unit selection exploits, and there are a lot of them. So, in LPAC, you're obviously playing as the Creeper. You shouldn't be able to control any of the units which are friendly to the AI. But the problem is that these units are what you can control by default. So the game mode has to basically change how the game works, and each of those units is kind of a separate case, and some of those cases fall through the cracks a bit. So this first one is the least broken. It is that you can select walls in Crazonium. Okay, well, you can select walls. Okay, well, what can you do with that? Well, I don't want these walls here. Walls can be destroyed. Just like normal units. There's the destroy option. Shift X is the default hotkey, so you can just do like, I don't want this wall to be here. Even better, click this, Control A, select all walls. Shift X. Now, what you'll notice is Crazonium you can't delete. But with Crazonium, there's this option known as Disable AC Blocking, or Enable AC Blocking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enable AC Blocking on the south and disable it on the north. What you'll notice is the anti-creeper flows up here, does not flow down here. What this option does is it basically controls whether or not anti-creeper can freely flow through these walls. So it's, again, this is pretty much one of the least broken exploits in LPAC as far as unit selection goes. And yeah, it generally doesn't give you too much advantage because there's still the anti-creeper around here, but it allows you to kind of control the flow of anti-creeper. The wall deletion thing is the most powerful thing here because it means that you can basically bypass all walls on the map. So, now that one is very rarely going to be hugely impactful. It pretty much never breaks a map. So the next one does break the map, but it's fairly minor because it is very rare that this bug occurs. I think it only happens in like 2 or 3 LPAC maps that I think. So in this one, it's not with any of the player units. Like, don't get me wrong, you can select this wall and delete it. That problem's still there, but that's not the one I'm going to go over for this one. This one I just need to wait a minute because I need a rock to show this one off. So, okay, so now we're getting into the rock. So, you see I have 1 rock. I can place this and it will destroy this thing. Well, here's the thing. Now I'm just going to click on this rock and I'm going to destroy the rock. I've got another rock. Click. Destroy. And now I've freed this. I still have got the rock, so I'm going to come over here, and I feel like freeing this. Now it does require a lot of micro, so it's. But I've freed this emitter, and I've still got the rock. I can basically go around and destroy everything. Of course, this is very micro intensive. It is. You know, I've literally only advanced like 1 second since I've gotten the rock. I mean, I've destroyed a bunch of units. But it's unlimited rocks if you're willing to sit down and micro it for a bit. So, yeah, that one is one of the more broken ones, but it's very rare to see in LPAC. If you're curious, basically whenever you select a rock and it attacks, see if you can select it and see if the destroy option's here. It happens on a few maps, but that one's fairly simple, and it's very rare to see, so it's not really one of the game-breaking things of LPAC. And it's actually been fixed several times. Like every time it shows up, usually gets found and then fixed for the next time. What is... Oh, yes. Yes. I remember what's up next. So... Now, next are, basically there are two... Actually, I say two. There are a bunch of, there are a bunch of exploits with the Autopilot unit build, with the Autopilot units. So, for those of you who don't know, LPAC has two scripts that builds units. So, whenever a unit is destroyed, the script will attempt to rebuild it. So, I'm just gonna... Oops. So I'm just gonna do this. Detonate you, detonate you. Okay, so why is it not rebuilding? Okay, so you see how it's rebuilding the cannon, the mortar, and the tower? This is the... So the auto build is the thing that rebuilds these. Autopilot, if you notice at the very start of the map, these sprayers weren't here. So these sprayers were built by Autopilot. Autopilot was originally not built for LPAC. It was originally built basically as a challenge of, can the AI beat a map? Or basically is it possible to build an AI that will actually like beat maps? And the problem is that there was no reason for that to prevent unit selection. So I can just select these sprayers and disable them. Now, on a map like this is incredibly broken because there are no normally occurring snipers. So I can just go over here, see the sniper. I'm just gonna hit Control-A to select all snipers, and then I'm going to destroy them. No more snipers. Yeah, that's not gonna be busted when you start boosting blob nests and skimmer factories into air sac cauldrons. Certainly not gonna be busted. So, yeah. You can basically spam destroy all snipers on this map. It won't let you destroy all of these units, but... So that's kind of the first of the Autopilot exploits. There are some variants of Autopilot which are built for LPAC or modified for LPAC, which prevent unit selection, but I find that they are actually more... they are less common than finding the LPAC variant, than finding LPAC with unit selection on Autopilot. Also, lag. Okay, so now I should probably be clear. That is nowhere close to the only Autopilot's a selection exploit. So actually, kind of a bit of a variant. So this map, if you kind of notice, they're starting with no units. So all units are going to be LPAC. However, the map creator for this actually decide that they were going to do something against this. So if you're playing this map, you're like, oh, okay, like you see all these units are being made with Autopilot, except for some of the starting ones in here. But so now, and if I start trying to select these, like, okay, I can't select these. Why not? I mean, these are Autopilot units, and I'll tell you that this is not the patched Autopilot that I was talking about. This is basically a this was a fix that someone did on top of. Now I'm going to restart the map to really show off what's going on. Although, actually, what I will point out is that you can sometimes select units, but it's not clear why, and it's hard to do anything with this without actual knowledge of what's going on. So if you dig through the code, what you'll find is that how the script actually works is that every 5 seconds of in-game time, the map will basically take all units that you shouldn't be able to select and make them so you can't select them. So, if you notice, these towers have been placed... we're at 4.9 seconds, so any unit that has been placed between 0 seconds and now can be selected and disabled, destroyed, whatever your heart desires. And as you can probably guess, this is pretty busted. Now that is not the only exploit with this. So first of all, you know, like I could just prevent this this emitter from being nullified just by selecting and destroying the emitter, or sorry, selecting the destroy and the nullify. But that's not the only autopilot selection exploit. So this shield, you can see I can't select this shield. Nothing I can do. Nothing I can do to select this shield. Except, there is something I can do to manipulate this shield. I can't select the shield, but for some reason I can select the unit ghost, the movement placement ghost. And, well, first of all, I can just shove it into, like, somewhere weird. It will, like, this unit will actually land here, and will actually do a unit stacking thing. But that's not the only fun thing I can do. I could just tell this unit, please go off to Narnia. Just go sit in timeout there for a minute. And the shield will happily listen. So, even if you can't select the unit, you can select the unit movement ghost. And, to be fair, this is not something I know how to fix. This is something that I think has to do with the game itself, and there's to fix this, you'd actually probably need to recode unit movement at all. And that's a whole other concern. So, yeah, so those, I think, sum up the biggest of the autopilot issues. But so all those bugs are kind of like weird, quirky, and just kind of like it some of them will break some LPAC maps, but it doesn't like instantly kill the map. Now is the time we're gonna start to get into the bugs that actually like allowed you to break LPAC properly. Okay, so first of all, wall selection. I'm just gonna destroy all walls on the map. And on this map, what you might notice is the factory is down here. So I'm just gonna do something quickly. I'm just gonna set this up. So I want to pop this, and I want to pop this. Okay. I don't think I quite popped that, but whatever. Okay. So the important thing to note is that this factory is here. Okay. So why is this factory being here? A cause for concern. Okay, so let's wait until we actually destroy this factory. So, okay, so factory's destroyed. Now, I will tell you, the game is not going to rebuild the factory here. That's because the factory is being built over here. But that means that it's being built by autopilot and therefore can be selected and disabled. Okay. Oh. Okay, so no more factory, but you know, the cannons and mortars still work. Where's the problem here? Well, the problem here comes with these shields. So, shields are one of the only counters that the AI has to basically just dropping eggs wherever you want. So, now that those shields have dropped, I'm just gonna start chaining eggs over here. And what just happened there? So the lab should be able to survive a minute in Creeper. Now this is actually something which is independent of LPAC. It's what's known as bugged decaying terrain. So for anyone who doesn't know, decaying terrain is the terrain type that which will, when Creeper's on it, lower. And the other property is that when a unit is on decaying terrain, when it decays, that unit is destroyed. This includes the lab. It instantly kills the lab. But this combination of stuff allowed for, you know, a clear in the span of 1 minute and 30 seconds. And you can do this a lot faster. But that is a whole other... but that is a whole other thing. And that's kind of a bit of a rare one, because that had to be autopilot and placing the factory. So that one, like, it shows up and allows you to break a few maps. But it is not where the main exploit came from. So LPAC, this next exploit, I think is on more than half of LPAC maps. And pretty consistently was the fastest strategy that was available on those maps. So I'm going to demonstrate it on this map because it is the most explicit on this map, and basically there's no waiting around. So what you'll notice is that, so I should probably be clear, I'm still on the unit selection exploits. So now this one, if you hadn't seen the last thing, you would think this is kind of innocuous. But on the last one, I had been able to select the factory. I can't select the factory here. However, I can select the red-on ore. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control-A, and I'm going to hit I'm going to disable the unit. This means the red-on will produce nothing. Okay, well, why is this a problem? So let's zoom in, and you'll see the red-on stores are going down very quickly. Now, once the red-on stores are disabled, shields only last about 40 seconds before, well, they run out of ammo. Remember what I said, the only counter the AI really has to eggs is shields. Okay, so now that that's gone, let's just start chaining eggs over towards the lab. Very similar to what we did in the previous map. This is just kind of the more generalized version of what worked on way more maps than it had any right to. Okay. And the reason that it's so powerful on this map is the fact that there are no immediate defenses around the lab. If there were cannons and mortars around the lab, then, you know, this exploit would still work. But the one problem is you just need to wait around for a few minutes to get enough eggs that you can overpower whatever defenses are here. So then, at that point, once the lab's in Creeper, it's just a minute before it dies. The lab has a bunch of health, so you know, you have to wait a bit. But, you know, there's a 2-minute clear, and I will say you can get under 2 minutes on this map. And just so we're clear, like, as much as I demonstrated on this map, like, you know, I said something about cannons and mortars just slowing you down, I think on, for example, this map over here, this still works. The problem is, A, there's no units to chain off of from this side of the map. So, you know, you'd have to chain a lot more eggs to get over. I think you'd basically, like, start from this blob nest or this spore tower, and you basically just chain it over until you get here. And the thing is that because those defenses around here are so strong, you actually do need a lot of eggs to properly break this. I think that, yeah, I think that on this one you need to seriously wait like 5 minutes just to get enough eggs and rocks to just assault this area. But it still works, and it still gives you a 5-minute clear, and, you know, if you check the play log, like I said, this gives you like a 5-minute clear, where most of the actual scores are like in the 30 minutes to an hour range. So it's like, yeah, this is, so this exploit works on so many LPAC maps. Basically, the requirements are eggs exist, and the ore selection exploit hasn't been fixed, which is on a lot of maps. Okay, so that's the extent of the unit selection exploits. Now we're going to get into the kind of other exploits. I'm going to start off with what I believe to be the most common bug in colonies. So it is a bug which you generally only see in LPAC or PAC maps, but it has shown up in a few other maps, because what the requirement is that you need an ERN portal to be, I'm not sure if it's complete with 6 urns, or it just needs 6, like, the urns inside the ERN portal. I'm pretty sure you need the ERN portal complete and urns in the actual ERN slots. Not just traveling to them, but actually in the ERN slots. So, you know, for anyone who knows what the ERN portal does, basically be like, okay, so this ERN portal is currently upgrading, you know, unit range, it's, you know, energy efficiency, mine production, all the upgrades. I'll tell you, this ERN portal ain't doing jack shit right now. This ERN portal literally is doing nothing, and it's not obvious to see why. So, you know, like, you can't select this, so you can't, like, see the percentages that tell you it's doing nothing. But I'm just going to scroll up my UI, so this is a lot more visible. But you notice, for anyone who knows what the UI elements are, in the top left you see Gen 4.9 and this like beige plus 0.0. What this 0.0 is the amount of energy being generated thanks to the ERN portal's energy efficiency upgrade. If you notice, it's 0.0. It should not be 0.0 if you've got 4.9 generation. The short version is that this means that the energy efficiency upgrade isn't working, and I'll tell you, while it's a lot harder to actually test this, none of the other upgrades are working. Like, you can actually figure out, like, you can actually test this and figure out that none of the other upgrades are working, but that generally requires, like, explicit testing, where the energy efficiency one, you can just look in the UI and it will tell you, oh yeah, this is just not working. So, and this is also, this is also why in LPAC it's the most common, it's kind of it's a much more common bug in PAC and LPAC because, well, first of all, you need the ERN portal to be there. Second of all, you need the ERN portal to start loaded with ERNs. And third of all, you need to not, like, the map maker needs to not notice it when they're testing the map. And the easiest way to make it not noticeable is make it so you can't click on the ERN portal to check what's going on. So this bug kind of is isolated to PAC and LPAC to an extent. I mean, I have seen it outside, but the majority of maps where I've seen this bug is PAC and PAC variants. So, oh god, the lag. Yep, the eternal thing whenever you go into edit mode, lag. Okay, so now I think I already actually did demonstrate this this bug once before, but I didn't explicitly talk about it. So what it is, this when I was talking about the Autopilot and Autobuild, one of the quirks with I need a place to start this. Sure, here. So one of the things that I had mentioned was that Autobuild just rebuilds units. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, how the script works is basically just like, oh, it wants to place a unit here. Like, it wants to place a unit, build ghost here, and then build that unit. The thing is that normally, like, as far as people who played this game, you know that it's like, I couldn't just be like, I'm gonna place a mortar right here. You can't do that. The scripts don't care. Like, straight up, whenever you're placing units with scripts, it doesn't care if the terrain's flat. It doesn't care if the terrain even exists. If it's on void, it doesn't care. Which actually has led to, if you have units on platforms in the void, it'll place the units without placing the platform. So, and, like, trust me when I say the script does not care for anything. You don't need to place the unit in the bounds of the map. You can place the unit out here. You can place the unit underneath the map down here. You can place it up in the sky. Who cares? The script does not, like, whenever a script places a unit, it doesn't care. So, you usually need to make checks like this to make sure that the unit you're placing makes sense, and one of the things that fell through the cracks was checking if the terrain has changed, because normally you can't change terrain. Decaying terrain is one of the exceptions here. So, basically, the script is placing units it shouldn't be allowed to. Now, the last... Well, sorry, not the last bug, but the next one that I was hoping to go over is not as much a bug, but it's just some weird quirk I think has kind of come up from someone trying to fix something in map creation. So basically, for anyone who knows LPAC, like, the emitters that have a lower interval are generally the better ones to boost, because the boost is effectively just a more power, effectively scales better on them. So, you know, if you look through the emitters, you're like, oh, well, this one's only this one's a 15 interval, this one's a 10 interval. I want to free this one. This one's more powerful. And the thing is that, you know, I've got eggs for this. So I'm just going to place this egg here. I think that might not be enough, but whatever. We'll fix that in a second. So I'll get another egg. Come on, give me another egg, damn it. There we go. So I've freed this emitter. It's not producing creeper. Why not? So, again, this is not an actual bug with the game. This is just apparently a decision that someone made. They put this on a start delay of 3 minutes. Now, I don't know if this was specifically so that someone couldn't free this early, or, like, you know, there's no benefit to, like, they just didn't want someone to unlock this early, or if this was generally a case of they didn't think that anyone could unlock this, you know, before the 3-minute mark. And why they would put a start delay on this at all is that when you're actually setting up LPAC, you need to play the map to set it up properly, and you don't want the emitters, you know, emitting at all. And the other quirk is that you can't just add the emitters you can't just, like, okay, you can't play the map and then place emitters. The emitters have to actually be there for at least a few frames for the map to be set up properly. And so what a lot of map creators will do is they will just give the emitters a start delay so they can kind of set everything up, and then the emitters will not do anything while they're actually setting up the map. And realistically, who's gonna free it? Like, you know, no one's gonna free this emitter at, you know, 12, 13 seconds, so the 3-minute delay is meaningless. Except it very often is. Now again, I don't know if this is actually an intended design choice of the map creator, but it's something that looks like a bug. I guess the other one that looks like a bug would be what's known as the creeper cutoff. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this thing produce a ton of creeper, and then congratulations, you're getting a bunch of friends. I'm just doing this to produce a ton of creeper. Okay. So for anyone who doesn't know what creeper cutoff is, once the creeper levels on a map hit a certain level, emitters... God. I need more emitters. Once the creeper levels on a map hit a certain threshold, emitters, stashes, and breeder terrain turn off. So you can actually see it in this UI down here, this 3.5. So what we're doing is whenever it's in that red, these emitters stop producing. And what you'll notice is that this spikes up, and then what you'll notice is it kind of goes down. And it's like, you know, the problem is it's kind of jumping back and forth between it. But if I just... is there an easy way just to shut off? You know what, there is. This will shut off the weapons given a few frames. You can kind of see, like, this emitter, it kind of shuts off, or it's supposed to pulse every half second. But if you check, like, it will have intervals of longer than half a second where it just isn't pulsing at all. And that's what the creeper cutoff actually is, which causes a few problems when you're. Sorry, it doesn't cause a few problems. It does cause problems for the people playing, but it's mostly confusion of like, well, why aren't my emitters emitting right now? Well, the answer is that, you know, you're at creeper cutoff. So those ones are not bugs as much as they are, like, they could be design decisions, but a lot of them look like bugs and are generally things that, like, why are they there? So, you know, again, not really bugs, but kind of just weird quirks not necessarily bugs, could just be weird quirks. Now, the next map I'm going to go over, what's the best way of putting this? I'm introducing the map before the bug because there's not just one bug here. So, in this map, LPAC Surrounded, the map creator made their own code for LPAC. You can see a lot of buttons over here. You can see, you know, difficulty selection. I will also say they fixed the ore selection exploit, and they added the pop all eggs button. This map very much ahead of its time in terms of what it was, in terms of what features it had. The thing is that when you add a lot of features, you necessarily will add a bunch of bugs, and one of the things is that you should be checking, as a map creator, you should be checking through and making sure that you don't come across these bugs. That when you do come across these bugs, you patch them as just so that the people playing the map don't run into them. So the first of the many bugs actually isn't as much a bug with the code. Yeah, on this map you can just disable terraforming, or specifically you can just control the terraforming. You're like, oh, this terp, it was terraforming this wall. Yeah, no, just instead, can you just put this cannon in a box? Oh yeah, also I can't select. Yeah, you can't unpause the map. That's part of the design of it. But anyway, we'll get to that. Okay, so if you notice, I can just put this cannon in a box, and then it can't shoot because it doesn't have line of sight. So, you know, fairly good. Now, the next one I'm going to need to restart the map to show. You notice how I had to select a difficulty to actually play through the map. You don't need to select a difficulty to play through the map. I can just hold my frame advance button, which, you know, the map goes a bit slow, but that's actually, to an extent, just a bit of lag. LPAC's a bit of a laggy game mode, depending on what code you use. So, you know, I'm just frame advancing. Well, what advantages does it get you? You could just, like, you know, select a difficulty and play. Well, what it is that the default difficulty is normal. Like, basically how all the things are set up is defaults to normal. So I could just effectively play the map on normal. You know, just like, I'm just going to beat this map on the normal difficulty, and then right before I win, I'm going to select impossible and get credit for beating the map on the hardest difficulty. Okay, now, okay, but that, like, you know, that doesn't break the map. That just, you know, you still need to actually beat the map, and you still need to beat it on normal. It's not like you're beating it on sandbox or, you know, you haven't just completely trivialized the map. How to actually trivialize the map step, method 1. So for anyone who, I'm just going to select impossible here just because nope, messed the timing up. So, yeah, I just need to wait for the next interval. So how the map works, and basically for anyone who knows how LPAC works, hold on, I just need to get the timing right on this, so just give me a second. Okay, so how LPAC works is that on an interval, it will give you egg or boost or rock. So basically, on this map on impossible difficulty, it'll give you an egg every 10.5 seconds. So what it's going to do is so this is why I paused at 41.8. At 42.0 seconds, it will give me an egg, assuming I haven't made a silly mistake. So the problem is that this script works while paused. What does this mean? So I'm just going to frame advance until I get to 42.0, and maybe you can't see it on the resolution, so I'm just going to blow this up, and look at my egg count. Look at how many eggs I have available. Okay, what's going on? So what the script is actually doing is it's just checking, is the current game tick a game tick that I should be giving the player an egg? And it's like, oh, yes, it is. The thing is that what I said is this script runs while paused. What this means is that the script is running 30 times per second even when the game is paused. So what it's doing is it's running, checks, oh, it's 42.0 seconds. I'm going to give the player an egg. No, 1/30 of a second later, oh, what time is it? It's time to give the player an egg, and just does this 30 times a second, except it's not just 30 times a second. This scales with the game speed, so if you go to 4x, it will do 120 per second. As you could probably guess, this allows you to bust the map wide open and win in a very short time frame. I mean, you've still got this wall of shields, and as I had mentioned, the ore selection exploit has actually been fixed, so you can't disable them with trickery. But so that might seem like the most busted exploit, and this works for boosts in rock. You can get unlimited boost in rock with this as well. It's just the timing I don't remember off the top of my head for these two. So yeah, unlimited boost, rocks, and eggs. That's probably that should probably be the most busted thing in this. Yeah, that should be the most busted thing on this map, right? No. Again, I'm gonna need to restart to. Actually, no, I don't need to restart to show this. I am going to save, and then I am going to load. What is this? Well, I mean, I want to keep playing the mission. Okay, well, what's going on here? This is a fail state of the map. If you get this, the map is designed to be failed. You cannot do anything. Okay, but now, unfortunately, I can't disable the volume at this point. So I'm just gonna say, warning to headphone users, this is about to get a bit noisy. So I'm gonna basically what I want to do is I want to move the camera. So headphone users, like until you see the until you see this screen stabilize again, just a warning, this is gonna be loud. Okay. Now, you might be wondering yourself, hold on, like, is there anyone who was paying close attention to the map? Wasn't there a riff lab over here? Well, there was. What happened to it? Well, for that, I'm going to exit the mission. I'm going to restart this because, and first of all, going to, oh god, yeah. Okay, need to fix my UI because that is actually, okay. So yeah, like, you know, there was the lab here. So what happened to it? So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select impossible and immediately pause. I'm going to drop a quick save, and then I'm going to quick load. I have now failed the mission. Now, this is where the trick happens. So I should probably be clear. The first bug is that if you try and load the game, is that it locks you in this infinite loop. You can't load the game at any point without breaking the map. There is a way to resume, however, it causes something even more ridiculous to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be clicking the keep playing mission button while holding the frame advance button. And I need to do this twice. Now you might have heard that. You might have also noticed there's no Soylent. Well, let's head over to here. These are the particles for the lab is warping out. Curious? What's going on here? Well, it's pretty simple. The lab's warping out. Now, I'm going to ask people a question that they might not know. What's the win condition for LPAC? Of course, it varies map to map, but on this map in particular, it is the riff lab not being present on the map. Usually you need to destroy it for this to happen, but in this case, riff lab's gone, beat the mission. What? What just happened? Okay, there is a lot of moving pieces here. So the first thing of why the game gets locked out, of why, you know, you have to advance like those 2 frames. So the thing is that when you first load up a mission for 2 frames, the game believes there is 0 creeper on the map. Now, this map in particular has a bit of code. Whenever it detects there is no creeper on the map, it sends you into a failure state. And what that failure state is it pops up that basically that objectives already submitted to play log thing. It brings that up every game tick, and that I guess every game tick. It brings that up every frame, even while the game is paused. So 30 times per second. Okay, and that's what frame advance and hitting the keep playing mission button. So what it is that when I hit keep playing mission, it'll then advance 1 frame. That's what lets me get past the 2 frames that would let me resume the map from the game suddenly deciding, oh, there is creeper on the map now. Okay, but that still doesn't explain how I won the map here. Well, the way that the mission failure is being done is with what's known as the end mission call. What it does is it warps the lab out and it brings up the score submission screen. I'm going to repeat that. It warps the lab out and it brings you to the play log score submission screen. That's what's despawning the Rift Lab. It takes 1.2 seconds for the animation to play out of the Rift Lab despawning. But that just lets you get a 1.2 second win. Which is absurdly broken. Now, okay, so I should probably be a bit clear on this. I don't intend to be in any way negative to this map. To this creator and this map. This is basically just kind of what happens when you make your own, when you try and add your own scripts to a game mode you did not code yourself. There are so many working parts and so many weird decisions that someone might have made. It's just like, oh, well, to fix this bug, they do some kind of weird quirk with the scripts that, you know, if you start messing with, you can undo the problem they had. Like, there's a lot of things like, why is that even there? And the eternal answer is, a lot of the time you just need to sit back and just kind of say, I don't know how that works, so I'm not going to touch it. And the thing is that when you start touching things, that's the outcome. And like, even when you don't start touching things, a lot of the scripts make certain assumptions about what the game state is, that when you start messing with, you can suddenly get what would normally be impossible game states, and the scripts just not being able to cope with those. So this is just kind of what happens if you do not spend literal hours bug testing your maps. Like, a lot of the LPAC default scripts are pretty resilient to players doing something silly, to map makers doing something silly. The default scripts are very resilient under that, but whenever you start adding your own scripts on top of it, they do start to have issues. And this, so, you know, this is actually one of the things. Like, when I was doing my rewrite with LPAC Dambuster of a lot of the scripts, I think that a total of like 12 hours of work just went into bug testing and bug fixing. Like seriously, about half of the time spent building this map was just chasing down bugs. It was ridiculous. Okay, now speaking of this, I think it would be unfair to go into all the bugs that other people have had and not go into the bugs that I introduced in my map. So the first bugs are ones that aren't actually entirely visible. Actually, well, let's start with my map. Let's start with the bugs that are on my map. Sorry. So in this map, I added some code. So I'm going to pop into editor so I can do this. So I can just delete these. So there is code. Like, the game will let you place units in a dark tower. This is not normal. If you kind of see, like, there's units, the units placement is red. Like, you can't do this. And I'll tell you, like, with the code, I can't allow you to place units in the range of a dark tower. That's not something that I can do as a map creator. However, what I can do is I can detect when you have a build unit selected, so I know when boost is selected, and I know when you click. So I just tell the game, yeah, whenever someone does that, just try and place a unit, but obviously do some checks that the unit placement is valid. Here's the thing. I just forgot to check that to make sure the unit wasn't in void. I just outright forgot to check that. So you can just place units in void, which is, with rocks, is quite powerful in a few instances because it lets you, it lets you kind of prioritize targets. You know, it allows you to kind of isolate targets a bit more. It's it's most powerful over here because it lets you kind of deep strike. Like you could get it here. So if you can get like Creeper over here, you can start slamming rocks down here to try and take out the back defenses and the ERN Portal. Which will allow you to take out the ERN Portal. And once the ERN Portal's down on LPAC, like we can't reassign urns to the ERN Portal. So once the ERN Portal's down, ERN Portal's down. Now the other bug with the code that lets you place in Dark Tower is one that I can't really reproduce easily. But whenever you place a unit, like I said, the script does checks to try and prevent things. Like one of the ones it tries to prevent is the placement of basically double placing a unit. So basically you place a unit once by clicking, and then the script adds a unit on top. The script has checks which in theory prevent that. In practice, when I was bug testing and trying to figure it out, I came across it happening once to me with the egg unit. It double placed an egg. The problem is I don't know exactly what happened. So I don't know if it was a particular timing. I don't know what the root cause of it was, so I couldn't fix it. So this is actually a bug that I still don't really know the details on, but it seemed rare enough that, you know, whenever I was doing play testing, I would have I would play through the map twice without seeing it at all. I think actually when I did my final rounds of my final testing of the map, where I test all different strategies, I think that on the 4 or 5 playthroughs I didn't have it happen to me once. So thankfully it's pretty rare, but it does happen and it can mess with you a bit. Now I guess the other thing so when I was doing when I was trying to fix all the other bugs, I just forgot to fix the one that doesn't allow you to, that rebuilds units on decaying terrain. So if you destroyed this this mortar, and then the terrain goes down, the game will replace that mortar exactly how I had shown earlier in other maps. So yeah, I just forgot to fix that one. But the other bugs with the scripts are not something that I can just show on that map because they don't actually show up. So the other bug that I just forgot to fix because I'm silly. Where is it? Yes, walls. Yeah, you can just select and destroy them still. Not my brightest moment. I just forgot, like, when I was just going through the list of things, I had that bug written down as just, like, on my to-do list to fix. The problem is that required me to mess with other scripts. Like, they required me to modify someone else's script, which is, like, a recipe for things to go wrong. So I had just been lazy and just not done it because I just kept procrastinating until I forgot about it. And because it never showed up on my map, it never showed up in bug testing. But that's not the only bug, but that's the bug I forgot to introduce. Forgot to fix. Now there's also a bug that I forgot to actually fix. If you kind of notice this rock, it's telling me that the rock target is going to be that cannon over there. Well, I'm going to click and see what happens. If you notice, the rock didn't kill this cannon. Well, maybe that was a weird quirk. Let's do something like a bit more obvious. Let's just do it up here. Well, it did. Okay, now it's really, like, what's going on here? It's saying, oh, it's going to target that. Oh, place the damn thing. Like, okay, the rock targeting is wrong. What's up here? Well, what's going on is that I'm a lazy programmer. So whenever I was coding the thing which basically tells you what the rock target is, I hard coded the range of the rock, and the map creator for this one, for this map, changed the range of the rock, which meant that the targeting, code which tells you what the rock is targeting, is working under the assumption that the rock range is slightly different. I don't know off the top of my head what the ranges are. This looks like a range of like 15. I think the default range is like 20. But basically the important thing is that the rock ranges are different. So it's just telling you the wrong target. Now boosts, I think also the range was changed. Yeah, you can kind of see like this is... Oh, I forgot. Okay, that's another bug that I actually didn't even know about until I was messing with this. Yeah, I forgot to actually change the size of the text for the stashes. But well, just add that to the list of things to fix before for the next LPAC. But yeah, the important thing is like the rock targeting and actually the boost targeting. You can actually see like this emitter is out of range, so you can see it didn't get buffed at all. So if you place this, the boost just returns the boost as opposed to actually buffing it. That's because the boost range was also hard coded. So yeah, make fun of me for being a lazy programmer, but yeah. So, but with that, I think that is all of the bugs. Well, that is the majority of the bugs that I know of in LPAC. Now, and I should probably be clear, I am on 2.3.3, so for anyone so at the time of recording, that is the current main Steam branch. The Steam beta branch actually does fix, I think, like 1 or 2 of these bugs, because a few of them were just caused by weird quirks of 4RPL, and 4RPL just not... so actually, I will say one of the ones that was fixed was the creeper levels being, the creeper level being believed to be 0 for 2 frames. That was fixed. And I don't think anything else was... Now I think about it, I think that was the only one that was fixed, but that's... Either way. With that, that is pretty much all the bugs that I can think of. All the ones that work on current patch, I should be clear. If there are any others that I missed, feel free to add them to the comments below. And with that, have a great day and goodbye.